And we're live. Welcome to 4 Days of the Football. I'm Adam. That's Mike, who says don't be sneaky. Thought it says snarky. There's Cyrus down there at the bottom, and Miles, Florida man, down there. So we were just talking before we came on. We were talking about Buffalo and the Titans game. That shit was awesome. I loved it, and the Titans ended up pulling it out, which I had one score right. I told somebody earlier today that Buffalo was going to have 31, and I said the Titans were going to have 14. When the game started, me and Jessica, my wife, we were sitting here watching. I was like, the Titans are going to lose this game. They don't have the defense. They don't have the expanded offense, if you will, because let's face it, Tennessee is run. That's how everybody knows Tennessee. It's the run team. But man, they pulled it out 34-31 with like 20 seconds left. They stopped the Bills on fourth and like inches to get the first down. And instead of kicking the field goal to tie the game, to send it to overtime, the Buffalo Bills went for it. Josh Allen did a quarterback sneak. He slipped. He fell. He did not make it. And me and Mike were talking before we went live, and I don't disagree with that coach's decision. Mike?
It's the wrong call. It's the wrong call in a game where you had so many lead changes and you have an opportunity to keep the game going. I don't think that I just don't think that you make that play there. I understand the mentality and the analytics say if you go for it, you get this many times, and you want to win the game. I get that, but 4th and 1, when you had a couple opportunities on that drive to get in the end zone and we're this close, 4th and 1, you kick the field goal and tie it, go to overtime, and the Bills had shown ability here and there, like mostly in the first half, to stop the Titans. I think if Tennessee got the ball first, I'm not 100% sure that they would have even gotten a field goal. They probably would have punted the ball back. And Buffalo was able to move the ball at will. Even the drives they didn't finish with a touchdown, they were in the red zone, and they could have gotten down close enough to get a field goal. Just me in my mind, I'm playing this out before this play comes up, and I'm thinking like, oh yeah, you're kicking this. And then when they got out there, I'm like, oh, they're going to try to draw them off sides, pick up the first down, and they get another 3 cracks at the paint. And that had happened. They went for it, and I was just like, oh my God, you moron, But it didn't work out. If it went the other way, if they got in, then it doesn't really matter. But they didn't get in.
No, they didn't get in, and like I said, Josh Allen slipped and fell. I personally thought, like I said, man, I agree with it, especially with they're the number one offense in the league right now. Their defense isn't shabby at all, and they definitely think about it. Think about the before on the kickoff on that drive where the Buffalo ended up getting down to the 2-3 yard line. That drive started, Miles, when the kick return was returned for a touchdown, but called back for a holding penalty on Buffalo. Since I know you missed it since you had to sleep.
Hey, I did. I missed it, but I'm looking at the box scores here, man, and there was 4 punts in that game.
Yeah, it was very bad.
Nice.
There were 7 lead changes in that game.
Yeah.
7.
It was an exciting football game.
It really was, and I really give it up for the Titans because I'm sorry I did not give them the credit. Now, granted, dude, their secondary already is depleted, and dude, they had so many injuries. I mean, I don't even know who their starting cornerbacks are right now.
We had Breon Borders taking snaps at corner last night. I'm pretty sure
There you
Monday
go.
night.
He was rough.
Mm-hmm.
Breon Borders should be nowhere near a CB2 spot, let alone lining up against Stephon fucking Diggs.
Yep.
But that's how it happened, and luckily this team does this whole next man up mentality, and it came in handy Monday night. You're not going to beat Kansas City with that defense, though, or at least it's going to be one of those 45. It's going to be like a Big Ten game.
Now, see, here's where I disagree with the whole Kansas City thing because a lot of people have been talking about that. All right, so did anybody actually watch the Washington game with Kansas City?
I saw parts of it.
All right, that's like Miles. I'm sure you're looking at the box score on that. That score does not reflect how that game was.
Yeah, I believe that. Washington's a tough team, man. They're fun to watch.
No, Kansas played like shit. Kansas played like shit.
I believe that too. They haven't done well.
Bad game.
He had a bad game. The first half of it was pathetic, dude. Terrible. And I really thought, they deserved to lose that game. I mean, obviously Washington doesn't have the firepower, as
They
Kansas
have
does.
Terry McLaurin, and that's it.
Well,
but I mean, I've been all year
Gibson's
trying to
okay,
figure out
but-
what's different about Kansas City, like why they're having these sloppy games, and that's exactly what it is compared to how we're used to seeing the Chiefs and all that talent come together and to have the motion before the snaps and the razzle dazzle, and he can run, throw. I mean, and everybody's involved. Now it's like really clunky, and we're pulling out some of these games close, but it looks rough. And I'm looking across the roster and the coaching staff, and I can figure out what's different.
They don't have any kind of running game, man. Nothing.
No, they don't.
And they've never been heavy on the run. But
didn't they lose a lot of people on the offensive line?
Depth-wise, absolutely.
They didn't lose any starters, though. I thought they lost some
did,
starters in the offseason.
But they replaced the starters. Problem is, they didn't really replace the depth. And once you start getting into the middle of an NFL season, like their offensive line was holding at the beginning of the year, okay? Now we're in the middle of an NFL season, and injuries are starting to mount up. They're only going to look worse in the trenches from coming on out. People should be very worried about the Chiefs at this point, and I wasn't initially, but it's not looking good.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
6 games in is a pattern.
It is. It's definitely a pattern, and they're last in their division still, aren't they?
No, I think Denver might be last now.
Really?
Yes, they're on a bit of a cold streak because they had
quickly.
They had to play real football teams, unfortunately.
Well, no, I get that. The first 3 teams they didn't, but I thought they were still in third place in the division, though.
They're 3-3.
Bridgewater came out for a little bit too.
Yeah, and he's questionable for this one.
Oh, they're tied at 3-3, but Denver technically has a better division record because they've lost to nobody in the division, while Kansas City's done a whole bunch of losing.
Well, I mean, they've lost 3 games, and the games that they've won has not been impressive.
The Chiefs are just... I'm on the border of straight up saying they're just not a good football team this year, and they might straight up miss the playoffs. I mean,
believe that.
There's enough talent in the AFC, at least in the North and in the North, to where Kansas City and either Las Vegas and that's the problem. I think the Raiders might be better with all this Gruden stuff being over, with Gruden being gone and all that. The Raiders might be better.
How so?
Well, they looked good the other day.
John Gruden was not a good play caller. John Gruden, I don't know how much Raiders you guys watched in the early, but the reason Darren Waller was getting all of these things is because the Raiders were coaching like it was 1998, and it was a lot of short passes. They weren't letting Carr throw, even though Carr is really good, believe it or not. Seriously, believe it or not.
No, but I believe it.
That team can go far. And now I think their weakest link is gone, and that was play calling.
I think there might be something to that, man. I think you probably hit the nail on the head because I'm sitting here thinking like Gruden was part of the West Coast offense, back in his days with San Francisco and kind of moved it on and out and expanded on it. And the premise of the West Coast offense is all those short passes. But, not everybody's really built for that. My biggest gripe about the West Coast offense is that they try to sit here and retrain everybody to fit the offense instead of designing the offense around the talent that you have. It's okay to change your offense from year to year. We saw it with the Patriots. We saw it with a lot of successful teams over a long period of time. Dallas in the 90s, they weren't the same team every year. I mean, they had to adjust, and they were still able to win Super Bowls and, get to the playoffs and things like that. And that's years ago. But, I think you're absolutely right on that. I would actually be really excited to see, how much better they could do over the course of the year, given a little bit of the weakness that's shown in the division. San Diego got knocked off. Not San Diego. The Chargers got knocked off.
They will forever be San Diego.
The Chiefs, forever. I can't grow that out of my brain, man. I'll be
like,
90
I'm only
calling
like
San Diego.
I'm like only like 20, and I call them San. They've been San Diego all my life. I couldn't imagine what it's like for you guys.
They're barely LA. They're the other team.
Yeah,
but exactly.
I'm not gonna. Either that, or I'm gonna call them the Clippers. Is that what they want?
Right. Exactly. So, I don't know.
But like, Also, at the end of that Bills game, I want to comment on the final play call from the Bills.
Yes, let me hear your opinion.
So watching that, a lot of that was Josh Allen slipped. I'll comment on that. If he gets slightly better footing, he probably gets that. But let's talk about the decision. The Titans against the quarterback sneaking on 4th and short are actually one of the better teams in the NFL. They've been like this since 2019. I don't know how many of you guys remember the divisional round against the Ravens. They were not converting 4th and 1 against the Titans in that game. And it's been like that since because, and Chris Carter, former NFL receiver and Good Morning Football host, pointed this out very well. The Titans pinch, their D-line pinches on QB sneaks, which is a Belichick learned quality. And it makes it really hard to gain any short yards on those plays. We're just a really hard team to QB sneak against. It was probably a good call, but context is king, and against the Titans, that it's very hard to do.
Well, I don't know if you heard. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I was going to say I got one more take on that game, which I thought was really a positive for Tennessee. I thought Vrabel coached an amazing game. I think he had to in order to get him in a position where it was even going to be close with a team like that. But with them losing all the cornerbacks, with them losing Lewan and having to scramble and figure out the offensive line and the secondary, they were a snap away from having to start putting safeties playing cornerback against some of the faster receivers in the league. And I thought he was able to work it out, to where he was able to get through it. And Borders, as bad as he was, it could have been worse. He could have been giving up touchdowns. He had interference calls and stuff that I think one of them actually saved him, where if he hadn't got the interference call, it would have been a touchdown. And I look at the play calling in the second half. They were able to get it to A.J. Brown, and they were able to really, kind of expand things out to where Derrick Henry's not running into 8 guys. And that's what really got them back in the game. That's what kept them changing the lead over and over again. So I, kind of shout out to Vrabel for the job that he was able to do and putting all that together. That was not easy.
Vrabel called a great game. The defense was called well. I'm going to be real, though. Offensively, I still didn't like Todd Downing's play calling at all. There was a lot of moments where I think we should have passed it and we ran, and vice versa.
But the problem is, man, we don't have dependable receivers right now. Even A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones, for some reason, he's on a limit of plays and that I don't understand. Like,
he hurt his hamstring again. And they ruled him out in the game. They had the sideline reporter saying he was out because of his hamstring again.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't hear that during the game or anything because they didn't announce it on TV.
And then AJ was.
Right. But I mean, he came in. I mean, he got signed with that injury. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. And that's the biggest problem with John Robinson. He is signing and drafting people that are hurt. Dude, fuck, what's that guy? Farley. He's out for the year. ACL.
It's going to come to a point where we're going to have to start talking about John Robinson's inability to draft talent in the first round
and pick up free agents, because even the free agents that he's picking up, dude, they're hurt. They're hurt. Damn it.
He is also really hurt. And had injury concerns when we signed him as well.
I know.
Yeah, John. It's hard for me to be hard on John Robinson because.
How can you not be hard on him, dude? What the fuck has he done?
You have to remember where we were 6 years ago, okay?
Yeah, we can still have Rustin Webster.
Rustin Webster was bad for my mental health.
All right.
Okay.
Robinson, man, Robinson has some of the Seahawks type of thing with him where he's better in the late rounds than he is in the early rounds. He can find some diamonds in the rough in the late rounds. This Westbrook-Akeen guy, not only was he decent receiving the other night, he was a go-to on a couple of third downs, which I was kind of surprised by.
Yeah,
he was fantastic blocking. The big Henry runs that he had, 15 was the one that was laying the wood to the guys on the edges and the safeties and getting them open.
And he's a small dude.
Yeah, he is.
And he is not a big dude. And no, he was definitely carrying his own in that game, and I give it up to him. But as far as not liking the play calling, Cyrus, that I think our biggest issue is we do not, as fucking usual for Tennessee, we don't have a receiving core that's dependable. Because even A.J. Brown is hurt. I don't care what anybody says. He's definitely hurt. He's not over that knee surgery. What's that?
He ate Chipotle.
Yeah.
He
Oh, that's
had the
right. He
flu.
had food
was
poisoning,
trying-
isn't it?
Yeah.
Was it food poisoning?
Yeah, he had
They were
food
saying?
poisoning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Well, anyways, moving on. I'm going to talk about the Chargers and the Baltimore game.
Oof.
All right. So the score, Miles, what was the score on that? You got your little box thing.
Yes, 34-6. Baltimore.
All right. Now that's an ass whooping. I'll give you that. But in the first half, that was not at all. All right, so Kansas City looks like they blew out Washington. They did not blow out Washington. Washington lost that game over and over, apparently, since it was 34-6. Damn, I didn't know that was a score. Seriously?
This is Chargers Ravens. I
Yeah.
didn't know what. I thought you
the
said Washington. Somebody else. Just a second.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was thinking
Okay.
Kansas City and Washington.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Oh,
Sorry.
and believe it or not, the 6 points scored by the Chargers is a touchdown and not 2 field goals.
Oh, so
They did miss
yeah.
the extra
Yeah,
point.
I know that. You know why I know that? Because I had their fucking kicker in fantasy. That little cocksucker.
It's all right. I started Christian McCaffrey. It's all good.
Well, I
Yeah.
wish you would start him this
Oh,
week
he's out
because I'm
again.
playing.
Imagine
Yeah,
that.
congratulations, Mike, on your win. Again, I
You know what, man? You actually had a really good week, and without him, we're with him. It would have still been close, and he would have lost. But I don't.
Your team is
I had the same thing
phenomenal.
happen to
It's
me
gonna be a
last
good
week
year.
before.
Yeah,
That's
didn't the
the
same
same
thing
thing
happen
happened
to you with Cook?
Yeah, in 2 weeks. I started him in 2 weeks like a moron. Won both of them. It was amazing.
I didn't even see
But-
McCaffrey was on the bye list and it was IR until like literally until like 2:00 Monday. I'm like, oh, well.
It's hard to follow. With him, I just assume he's injured every week now.
Isn't
no,
he
I mean,
again?
I think I'm gonna do the
safe
same
assumption.
Isn't
Yeah,
he
safe
again
assumption.
injured since
Mhm.
last week? Yeah.
I think he's on injured reserve, so he's
Yeah,
got
they
3
put him
weeks
on
Oh.
off.
IR.
All
Yeah,
right,
so he's
good.
definitely
'cause
going
I
to be
got
out for the.
Chuba Hubbard. That's my
Yeah,
guy.
I've got him in my other league. Thank God. I mean, I'm still 0-6 in that fucking league, man. Fuck ESPN.
Oh,
league,
and
dude.
6.
Yeah, dude. 0-6.
It's a different
Nice,
mindset
man.
from PPR, man.
And well, that
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I drafted 12th. I was a 12th person, and dude, by the time I got my third pick, there's nobody left,
Mhm.
and I fucked up. All right. So I wasn't used to the queue and all that kind of shit. So when I thought I was queuing up Jacob Robinson
Mm,
or James Robinson, whatever the fuck his name is, running back from Jaguars.
yeah.
I thought I was queuing him up, but instead of queuing him up, I picked him more. And then I went to go pick Aaron Jones instead of queuing him up, but I queued up Aaron Jones.
Mm.
So God, yeah. So that fucked me. And my first pick was Travis Kelce because literally nobody else was left as far as like. By the time it got to me, dude, all the decent running backs were gone.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have went with Eckler, Mixon, anybody like that, dude. They were
See,
all
that's
gone.
the problem in the super standard leagues like that don't do PPR and don't really have anything else to augment the scoring. The old school league is what I call it. Those, if you don't draft like 2 really good running backs, you're really not going to do anything. I mean, you got to
Yeah.
be 1 and 2 picks, the decent running backs. And if you have an injury at one of those, it's hard to come back from it. And that's
Yeah.
where it makes it more luck than skill. With PPR, there's a lot more skill involved because you have other players you can pick to fill in that gaps.
Well, that and there's not 12 people in the league, and this is the first time I played with 12 people in it as well. Usually it's only
Yeah,
8
12 is
people.
rough.
Dude,
Yeah,
12
12
is
is tough.
definitely rough because I mean, y'all talk amongst yourself for a minute. I'm going to pull up exactly who is left out there right now, and everybody's got, and yeah, it's nuts.
Listen, all you had to do was draft Cooper Kupp.
Dude, he was gone by the time I wanted to get him. No shit, I wanted to get him, but he
He's
was
been
off the board.
amazing.
All
12
right,
person leagues that's insane.
all right, so I had a bad draft, and that's totally on me because I drafted fucking Robinson II against my better judgment.
Yeah, that's not a good draft pick.
I fell for the stereotypical, hey, he's the highest ranked person on the draft board right now.
Hey,
I wasn't
sometimes
able
that
to get
works.
anybody else. What's that?
Sometimes that works. I don't disagree with that. That's doing that. I agree.
Well, it didn't
totally.
work for me.
But you
And
gotta
Godwin
put
hasn't
in,
done.
you
Sorry,
know, the
so
whole
my
situation.
all right. So here's are the running backs that are
All right.
that are available in that league:
Okay.
Gainwell, Michelle from the Rams. I'm sure I'm not saying that right.
Sony.
Thanks.
Mission.
Freeman from Carolina, Hines from the Colts, Jay Kelly from Cleveland, Stevenson from New England. I don't even know who these motherfuckers are.
Go for the Cleveland one.
Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, because
No.
Kareem Hunt's out for a while.
Yeah, I know. And so is Chubbs
Yes.
too, isn't he?
Yes.
All right, so this is who I have. I got Hubbard starting and Devin Booker. I was able to pick him up last week.
Oh, is
And
that a big deal?
What's that?
So is that a big deal?
Yes, for me, it's a huge deal.
I mean,
It's a huge deal for me.
winning a game would be a pretty big deal. It sounds.
Yeah,
like.
because at this point, dude, I'm just trying to get a fucking starter.
What about like Kenyon Drake and those type of guys, like your backup running backs for teams with oft injured running back?
Yes.
Well, I got Dylan from Green Bay.
I do
I've
too.
got Drake on a
I
couple
feel like
weeks.
that's going
Who's
to
got James Conner in your league?
No. Is he really doing anything? Is he
He's
just
getting
hot and
touched.
cold?
Man. He's getting touched.
Compared to other players, compared to a lot of the names he just listed, absolutely.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I just
you got a
listed the
point.
top running backs that are available.
I had to pick up James Conner in our league today because, yeah, there's really no one available in our league anymore right now either.
No.
Well, at least
Yeah, dude.
at least Arizona's running it a little bit, and when they get on the goal line, they got to hand it to somebody. Unlike some other teams.
Well, they don't want Kyler to get hurt.
Yeah.
Which is good. He's good. I
He's-
like watching
He's phenomenal.
Yeah, dude. They're unbeaten, and I've got to confess, dude. He's good. I didn't see it last year. I did not see it. I didn't see it at the beginning of this year either until I watched them.
I have
He's
to see
good.
how they play in the cold weather because that's the only test left. I want to see how they do come playoff time. But if they can
That's a
do
good
it
point.
come playoff time, the Cardinals are the easy favorites for the whole damn thing.
Dude, they're 6-0, and Fitzgerald hasn't done anything yet.
I don't think he's going to. But dude, see, here's the thing. All right, so that's NFC. So are the Chargers? Are they? Fuck, I can't talk. Are they somebody to worry about? They come into that game 4-1, just like Baltimore did. Or no, Baltimore came in at 3-2.
No, 4-1.
They're both
4-1.
4-1. They're before Sunday, obviously.
Okay, so yeah, and the Ravens handed them their ass.
Not only that, the Chargers came off beating what we thought, and maybe we're wrong about Cleveland being elite as well. I thought Cleveland was.
They got a lot of injuries.
Yeah, they're very hurt, but the Chargers just got off handing one of the better teams in the AFC their ass. And, well, it was a very, very high-scoring affair between Cleveland and the Chargers. And then all this hype, Herbert's getting MVP talk, all this, and they walk into Baltimore and just get smacked. It wasn't even a game from start to finish. I mean, there was a couple fourth downs early where the Chargers had 4th and short and the Ravens stopped them, but the Chargers defense was exposed. The Ravens offense hasn't looked good this entire year, and now all of a sudden, there they are.
What?
The Ravens' offense, while they've put up points, they've been wildly inconsistent. And while Lamar Jackson's been an MVP candidate once again, this was the first game where they really spread the love in terms of the offense. Their running backs got involved. Their receivers got involved.
They definitely had more. They
that.
dominated this game better than they have any other game this year. I'll admit to that.
Lamar Jackson's still an MVP candidate, but this is the first game where that entire offense looks like a well-oiled machine. It's the best they've looked since 2019.
So based on that, is there a scarier team in the AFC beyond Baltimore, with Kansas City having a kind of a down year for their standards? You guys see a scarier team, like if the playoffs started today? Is that the one team that nobody wants to play?
Right now, yes.
I would love to see Cleveland healthy. I would love to see maybe even Pittsburgh with their defense healthy. Their offense is abysmal, but they got talent at least, and that defense in Pittsburgh can be elite when it's healthy. And I know I'm going to sound like a homer, but I would love to see the Titans with a healthy defense and offense.
Well, yeah, obviously, but all right. So here's the the Browns, we were just talking about their injuries. This is their injuries for the this week 7 of the NFL's. Out for this game, Baker Mayfield's shoulder. Running back Nick Chubbs is out, and AJ Green, cornerback. Here's questionable: Odell Beckham, Jack Conklin, Jedrick Wills,
Jadeveous Clowney.
Thank you. Malik Jackson, Malcolm Smith, J.C. Treader, and Mac Wilson. Dude, that's a lot of people out, man. Or questionable.
High tier talent.
Well, besides Clowney, yeah.
Well,
It's
high
like a
tier talent
2019 Pro
and a
Bowl
bust.
I can't stand Clowney.
No, me neither. But wow, I would love to see Cleveland healthy. Yes, I couldn't.
So Denver's going to Cleveland tomorrow night. That's that game.
Okay.
Miles, I know you'll be in bed for that, but they're both 500 right now.
Yeah.
3-3.
Yeah.
Kinds
Bridgewater's
of
got to
shit
get
about his
healthy
bedtime.
with Denver.
What's that?
Bridgewater's got to stay healthy for Denver to compete.
Well, he's questionable for this game.
I know. He's brittle, man. He doesn't, hopefully, because they have no backup plan there. So, and I
Is
guess
their backup still Drew Lock?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to see what Cleveland's backup plan is, obviously, against this game. Which
Who
will be
is their
interesting.
backup?
Keenum.
Hey, are you serious?
Case.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Coming back to Denver.
He can play. You know why he
Can he?
can play? Yeah,
Why?
he's in a system that's exactly like what he had in Minnesota. Because who was the offensive coordinator in Minnesota? Stefanski. He's now the head coach in Cleveland. So he's going to run a system he's comfortable with and can probably win a game against Denver. I mean, he's not playing the, Joe Montana led 49ers across there. I think he'll be fine. And Denver's falling all over themselves. So for one game, and they said if it wasn't a short week, Mayfield could probably have played. He wanted to play.
Case Keenum's a modern day Neil O'Donnell. He's the kind of backup you want in there.
Dude, you hit it again.
That's the kind of guy
The guy
back
you want
in
for
there,
one
yeah.
Sunday, but not a month of Sundays.
That is absolutely correct.
So,
Well, Yes.
well,
I was
what?
going to say, just to comment on that Chargers business, that team has to win a playoff game before anything needs to be serious from them ever.
Yeah.
Like that's like the first step they need to take. Up until this point, and any point going backwards, they are just a distraction that lives out on the left coast.
I'm sure Chargers fans would take having a functioning special teams unit at this point.
Well, so I and the Ravens, you guys. I mean, inconsistency doesn't spell 5-1 in my book. So I mean, maybe they don't play the same way they should play every game, but they're winning games.
Did you feel the
And
same
whatever
way?
should means, I don't know, because I keep saying this. I keep preaching my short-term thesis with all this, and you do whatever works each week and each year, and you don't think about the next day or the next year. And that's a pure Lamar Jackson play right there.
I mean, they survived some games they should have lost. The Lions game should have lost. The Chiefs game should have lost. They really, kind of eked those out. But having won those games, now they're starting to really put it together. And now I think that they're capable of blowing out a lot of the top tier teams in that conference and really going on a run. I mean, they may wind up being 16-1 by the end of the year, based on the way they're playing now, if it continues that way, having, kind of overcome that rough stretch in the middle. Because they had a lot of turnovers and stuff the first couple games. I mean, to play down to the Lions and almost lose to them, they had to kick the longest field goal in the history of the game to win, and it bounced in by like an inch or so. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter as long as you get the win. I mean, if they can, they can continue stringing together.
Now, Miles, let me ask you this. Did you feel the same way about Pittsburgh last year?
Yes. There's something to be. Remember,
Really?
I was on there. I rode the bandwagon last year.
I did not.
Yes.
No,
There's
I knew they
something
were
to be
shit.
said for momentum like that, man. It's kind of a sixth sense kind of thing for a team sport kind of thing like that. I mean, when you get the wind behind your sails and you're going like that, it's. I mean, for a little while now. Once Pittsburgh got to 11 and 12 and 0 or whatever it was, I started saying, okay, it's coming. But I mean, up until that point, yeah, they were a force.
I mean, I know it's not like college to where you had like 6-0 Kentucky going into Georgia last Saturday with no hope of them winning.
No.
I know it's not like college ball, but at the same time, it's just this weird feeling of, yes, they're very good record-wise, but you just see them. And it's like, man, that would not work in the playoffs, or that would not work with the division on the line and whatnot.
We'll see.
I don't know. I'm
Harper's doing a good job. Harper.
Yeah, no, I'll
always
give
does
it
a
to him.
good
But
job.
all right, so with that being said, take Lamar Jackson away from Baltimore. What do they have?
An 0-6 record.
Yes.
Really?
I agree with that 100%. Yes.
So
Maybe a 1-5.
okay. So
Maybe.
with that being said, is it fair to say that Lamar Jackson at this point should be the MVP of the NFL?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Got
go
my
back and
vote.
forth.
They're probably
man.
going to give it to Josh Allen, but it should be Lamar Jackson.
No, because I don't think they'll give it to Josh Allen because you got Trubisky out there, and I think he could take over the Buffalo scheme. Don't
MVP.
get me wrong. I'm not saying that Trubisky is anything like Josh Allen. Fuck off, Mike. But the thing is, without Josh
MVP.
Allen, like y'all were saying about Kansas City, y'all were saying it a few weeks ago. It might have even been last season. How if you take Patrick Mahomes away from Kansas City, you still have a hell of a team.
Yes.
And the same goes for Arizona. You take Kyler Murray away from Arizona, you still have a hell of a team.
Do they, though? Do they?
Yeah, they do. They do. Yes. They have a receiving
Well,
core that is what?
Their offense is predicated on him being who he is, just like
Yes.
Baltimore's is.
Yes.
I think of either one of these
But
teams.
isn't Kansas City the same way?
Huh?
Isn't Kansas City the same way? Their
No.
offense is based on the way Patrick Mahomes plays.
No. They have talent spread out. Look at their tight end and their receiving situation, man. Travis Kelce and old boy that's faster than a cheetah are the ones. I mean,
Tyreek
these
Hill.
are once in a lifetime players for a coach. To have something.
And Andy Reid's one of the best offensive coaches to ever live. That helps.
Yeah, and they're running a traditional Andy Reid system. Another
Well,
quarterback
absolutely.
could run that system. They had Alex Smith the year before Mahomes blew up, and they were in the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but I'm not saying I don't know that Case Keenum could come in and do.
So we're talking the MVP as a quarterback award, obviously, because there's two
I'm
teams in the NFL.
I'm
Jamar Chase.
not that person because honestly,
There-
I feel like if you take Derrick Henry away from the Titans,
Zach, that's what I was about to say.
they don't have a win.
The
Without
Ravens
Derrick
and the
Henry.
Titans are in the same situation. If you take away, the MVP is such a weird award because if we're going by I remember 2011 when the Colts were tanking. My dad had the argument that Peyton Manning should be the MVP because the Colts went from 14-2 to 2-14,
He got a vote that year.
and he should have, because if we're talking about most valuable, what does that mean?
Exactly.
That means if you take that person away from that team is shit without them.
Yeah.
That's the way I
think, too.
Top
interpret
two
it.
contenders should be without a shadow. Well, top three contenders without a shadow of a doubt would be Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and then let's say Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, because without Aaron Rodgers, that team's nothing either.
I disagree with that.
Adam, we know how you feel about Aaron Rodgers, and
No, fuck Aaron Rodgers. That has nothing to do with it. What I'm saying is that's no different than saying Patrick Mahomes is as big of an asset to the Kansas
I would
City
love to see
Chiefs.
Jordan Love run that offense. I would love to see that, pun intended. That would be a fun day to see Jordan Love run that offense. I don't.
But I
think
mean,
it would
there's
go
talent in
That's
Green
fine.
Bay. You got Aaron Jones. You got Devontae Adams. Aaron Jones leads the division, leads the NFL in touchdowns. Devontae Adams is probably, arguably, the best receiver in football.
True.
Devontae Adams is really good.
So what now? All right. With that being said, what does Kansas City have more than that? They have Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. What else do they have?
They
as
got
far as
McCole
weapons
Hardman.
go?
They got McCole Hardman. They've got there's some fullback there that's really decent. They have kind of a mixture of running backs that catch passes out of the backfield. So
But my
rushing,
point
I'm
being,
just saying, like
though,
they have a good enough kind of infrastructure there where another quarterback could really step in and do a lot of the things that Mahomes does, not as well as he does them. But I mean, where you're going from a 12-win team, you might still win 9 or 10 with the same cast of characters.
Yeah. But if you took Lamar Jackson, you're not. Or if you took Derrick Henry out of the picture, you're not.
I
No.
agree.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with all that. My point was saying that I feel the same way about Arizona. You take Kyler Murray away, you still have a load of talent on that team.
Okay.
See, I don't see that.
So let
Who's
me
the
ask you a
backup going to be?
That's
it matter in this
completely
series?
irrelevant. It's
Okay.
completely irrelevant.
All
Is
right.
Chad Henne taking the Chiefs to because I had to Google who their backup QB was. I was for some reason I thought it was still Tyler Bray. There's a shout out to y'all Vols fans out there, but it's Chad Henne. Is their QB,
Still?
backup QB? Yeah, still Chad Henne from Michigan.
What?
The guy who got beat
How
by
is he
Appalachian
alive and
State
playing?
in 2005 and that's how y'all heard it, Chad Henne, the Appalachian State game.
Oh, I remember Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how he's still in the league, mind you, but he is the backup. Do y'all think Chad Henne's taking the Chiefs to anything?
Yeah, I do. I think he could, and the reason why is because a couple of years ago when Mahomes got hurt, they had what's his nuts that used to play for Miami. You know what I'm talking about? Like Moore or something.
Oh, I think that's their third string. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and they pulled that guy. He was like a substitute teacher or something. They pulled him out of whatever job he was at, of like a month prior to back them up, and he came in and he went 4-0 as a backup
Veterans.
with
Some
obvious
of-
limitations.
I think Matt Moore's on their practice squad now.
Yeah, Matt Moore. That's it.
Yeah, I was right there with him. Like, I can't think of his name. But yeah, so I will say my opinion on Arizona. No, I don't think somebody else can run that offense the same way. I think what they do is predicated on what Murray is able to do. I think somebody else goes in there and it kind of is disjointed. They have to redesign the whole thing. I don't know if Kingsbury can do it or not. I probably messed his name up. But I think it would be more of a struggle to replace him in that offense than it would be to replace my Kansas City's offense, all things being equal.
I'm on Mike's side.
Yes.
Quarterback is a very hard thing to judge in the NFL, and judging how a backup QB would do is
It's irrelevant to what I'm trying to.
Yes, I know what you're saying, but I still feel the same way. I mean,
I
regardless of who the backup would be.
I mean,
I would
the
take-
backup in the backup in Arizona is Colt McCoy.
oh wow.
I would take Colt McCoy in Kansas City all day long to win 9 games.
I feel awful for Colt McCoy. If he wasn't
But
doing
not in
that,
Arizona.
He'd be a starter. Somewhere.
Not in Arizona,
I'm
really.
gonna Google it.
Even with
I'm gonna Google
DeAndre
how much money he's
Hopkins,
made.
AJ Green, that doesn't mean shit though. Zach Ertz just went there.
AJ
which is a
Green
good-
doesn't mean shit, but
What?
AJ Green doesn't mean shit to me. But DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, I understand that. I get that. I don't know.
I wish Colt McCoy didn't have an injury history because he'd be a
And
starter.
Christian Kirk has been having a good year this year.
He is, but he's not. He's not.
Randall Moore. I mean, he's spreading around. I'm just saying.
But
I don't
listen,
know.
he can have a colander for an offensive line and still throw 40-yard passes. This kid just is on a joystick. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
So
Dude.
you're saying he's in the top 3 of the MVPs then?
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll agree with that. I mean, I'll see how you can't. And, all right, so Mike,
Trivia
what do you
question
Just find
answer.
out, Mike.
Trivia question answer for the ages. The Colt McCoy has played for 12 seasons. He has a career earnings of $20.5 million. Colt McCoy has made $20.5 million in the NFL.
To play 4 games or something?
Oh my God! I'll have to look that up. I want to know how many games
Basically
he's actually
for-
started.
being carried by that fullback in Cleveland in 2011.
Peyton Hillis.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And then
dude, Colt McCoy. I still only really know him. I don't know of anything he's really done in the NFL. I mostly know him from his days at Texas, where he almost won
Yes.
the national championship with a pop gun arm.
Yes.
Man,
I remember him
that.
after
Imagine
Vince
if
Young. That's it.
Imagine if they had the sponsorship deals they're allowed to have now. Back then, Colt McCoy would have a lot more money than he does now.
Yeah.
He would have.
It's going to get ridiculous as far as that goes. Oh, my God.
It's gonna
I'm
be
all for
funny.
it, but it's still going to get cut.
He has a total of 662 snaps for his career.
Wow.
I don't know how many games that boils
What?
down to.
Hell, I've got 500 in my career. I don't even play football.
Wow, 600, a little over 600 snaps. That's crazy, dude.
God, I'm gonna
That's
look up
nuts.
Chad Henne. I don't think he's anywhere close to this though, because they've actually given McCoy starter money a couple places.
Right?
He's
Well,
earned it a
Cleveland
couple
wasn't it?
places.
Cleveland's who's drafted them, isn't it?
And
No.
Washington, I think, pushed him into starting a few times.
Yeah, Cleveland's the one that drafted Colt
Are
McCoy,
you
isn't it?
sure?
Third round.
He ended up being a lot better NFL quarterback than the previous Texas Longhorn was there.
He came out in a very bad quarterback draft in 2010. That was the year before Newton was the top pick, and that was what's his name? Clausen was the.
Jimmy Clausen.
Oh, that's
He
the
was
year
the first quarterback taken, but he was in like the second round or something.
Isn't he the player that Mel Kiper literally staked his whole career on?
Yeah, I remember something along those lines.
Oh,
We're
Oh, yeah,
getting
when
a
the-
time machine now.
top QB that year was Sam Bradford.
Mm.
Woo.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Cole
right.
McCoy was
Remember that.
kind of the snowball effect in Cleveland, wasn't he? Where they just kept doing these quarterbacks. They're like, he's the next savior.
Well,
And,
so
like, they
Johnny
just went
Manziel
through this
came after him?
And then Baker finally has kind of come as their savior.
So Cole McCoy was the best quarterback Cleveland had up until Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. Johnny Paycheck. What about him?
Yeah, that's what I just said. Johnny Manziel. He went there
Yes.
after Colt McCoy.
Johnny Jackass.
Yeah.
And then Tyler, old boy played for him from what's his name? Damn it. Houston's quarterback, Tyrod Taylor.
Oh,
He played
Tyrod.
for the Cleveland Browns for a little bit.
He was the guy right before Baker.
All right, so I'm moving on to the fucking Jags game because that was such a great feeling on Sunday because, I'm having a little rough spell right now with my fantasy football, as you heard earlier. Podcast. I'm 0-6 now after this week, but it was okay because the Jags won. They got their first win of the season. It came on a field goal, and that was a different dude. I didn't expect it. So what happened was it was like 20 seconds left, there's 5 seconds left. If they would have kicked the field goal, it would have been a 63-yarder. So everybody assumed announcers, fucking Miami, everybody played it deep because they just swore up and down they were going to Hail Mary with 5 seconds left. That's exactly what I thought. And all of a sudden, they hike the ball and throw it underneath for a very short gain just to get the first down. Called it an immediate timeout with 1 second left. Kicked the field goal, won the fucking game. It was great. All right, and that's the podcast. I'm out of here. See you fuckers later.
And what will be probably the only time I say this, at least until he is coaching in Southern California or a Max school, wherever he ends up. That was a brilliant coaching decision by Urban Meyer. Put it in stone, put it in writing. He's done it, folks. He made a great decision at the NFL level, and it worked.
Stop now while you're ahead.
Yeah.
You're gonna broke clocks right twice a day, man.
Something like that, because it was I thought at first, that's a terrible decision. They're going to run out of time. No, it worked. They were able to shorten the field goal, and they won. The Jags won a game.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't pretty, and it was against Miami. Now they have the same record as Miami, so that tells you right there. But man, I felt good.
You know who has a first-round pick and you know who doesn't? Jacksonville has a first-round pick. The Dolphins do not.
So a lot of the talk. Tua didn't have that bad of a game, but everybody's saying that he's out of there. There's talk about
They've
Deshaun
been
Watson
saying
going
that,
there.
man. They've been saying that.
I don't understand
They've been
why.
saying
Why are they so against this guy? I thought he played pretty decent.
I've said the same thing. I said that sucks, but at the same time, I understand if you have an opportunity to get Deshaun Watson, you might as well take it because he's proven to be.
He's proven, but he ain't playing right now, and who the fuck knows what's going to happen to him in the future? We don't know if there's going to be. We've never talked about it on the podcast. We won't get into it, but the thing is, you can't trust anything about Watson right now.
Well, I don't know the background right now, but who's the last player that actually doesn't play again after doing something like that?
So
Rice.
That's
Yeah.
probably it.
that's what I would say.
Well, I mean that
They
guy.
get away with it now. It's not a, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Well,
Robert Kraft.
not that
Robert
one guy in
Kraft.
Seattle, the
Robert Kraft.
lineman, the line guy that beat up his girlfriend and almost killed her. He got tossed out, and that happened just as enough.
Well,
must have
it
not
just
been
really
that-
kind of follows suit with a lot of other stuff in our world that if there's video of it, it makes it much worse. There's no video of him doing any of this stuff. So
Right.
eventually there will be settlements and he'll move on and out. But here's the thing. Here's why it's heating up now. Trade deadline's coming. Miami's looking at things next year, just like you illustrated. They don't have a first-round pick. They made the ignorant trade to move up, 3 or 4 spots after the Dolphins amassed a bounty of first-round picks. At one point, they had 3 first-round picks in this draft that just happened. And they gave it one of those to move up 6 spots and take somebody. I can't remember who it was this year, but mostly ineffective to this point. And everybody was like, really? Why would you move up to take them? Just get some guy in the second round. All this to say that they need a quarterback. And I think they have recognized what Tua's shortcomings are. And he needs to be in a certain type of offense to be successful. And the Dolphins just don't have the tools right now or the coaching, possibly both, to really make him what he needs to be. I don't think he's broken. He looked pretty good in spots last year, but they feel like they can put Deshaun Watson in there and instantly change things because he would make everybody around him better.
So
Possibly
what
that's true.
scheme would Tua fit in then in the NFL right now? What team?
Tua needs to have a play action heavy offense. What the Titans run, Tua could run, and he would be a lot better. He's got enough arm to get downfield, but he has to have a run game to give him time to make his reads and to be able to get comfortable and start to establish a rhythm. He's not a guy who's going to just turn it wide open off the jump. He's got to get some completions, get some momentum, and then he starts to make things happen. And he did that in Alabama, so I know he could do it at the NFL. If you could do it at Alabama playing that competition, odds are good that you can at least be moderately successful. He just has to have a lot of pieces around him. Watson does it. Watson did it in Houston where they consistently didn't have a lot of receivers outside of Hopkins when he was there. And the coaching, say what you will.
Well,
I
I have something to say about Alabama quarterbacks real quick. I feel like to a certain degree, you're not going to have a lot of success out of them because they come from a very conservative mindset and a very conservative play calling. Would anybody argue that as far as the quarterback goes? Okay. So when they get it, they're used to that kind of, regiment almost, if you will. And then they get thrown into these situations like Philadelphia and Miami. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, that's not a success story there. This is not setting them up for success in places like this. You've got Hurts, and Tua, and they're not, I don't think they were, they're these studs. I think you've got better rookie quarterbacks or better sophomore quarterbacks definitely than they are. But I don't think they've been given a fair shot due to those circumstances where you've got Mac Jones, who's going to thrive because he's been given a similar environment as far as like regiment goes. And like, he's also got a little bit of time to build and not be so expected to win now. Belichick has more of a long view than a right now view.
No, I agree. And I think that, based on what you just said, they have so much better talent at Alabama than where some of these guys go in their first team. The lines are not as good as some of the players they had in front of them. The receivers are definitely not as good. And they're sitting here having to throw to guys who, they're about 2-3 weeks away from selling insurance the rest of their lives. And, that really, it hurts you in a certain respect because now you have to take on a lot more of the not only leadership role, but really pull these guys on your back. They're not able to catch these passes or get open. The windows are a lot tighter in the NFL naturally. And you're having to make up the speed difference of the game. Plus, there's now a talent gap versus what you've had, between 18 and 22. So, and Jalen Hurts, I feel like Jalen Hurts has been given a lot of good opportunities in Philadelphia. And I think what's wrong with him is going to take a lot of time to coach out. I don't think the same thing about Tua. I think Tua is less of a project than Hurts, but he just needs to have enough pieces to give him some confidence. Jalen Hurts doesn't have any confidence. To me, when I watch him play, he's completely busted. I don't know how they're going to be able to fix him, and it's not going to happen this year. But Tua's not there yet. He still has hope, and I feel like if they get Watson, they could trade him somewhere like a New England type of place. It's got an established coaching tree or, something there that it's not going to put the whole team on him.
So let me ask you this. So Deshaun Watson, you're saying that he can turn things around in Miami because anywhere the way he plays, he doesn't have to have a supporting cast, if you will.
He can make them better.
Okay, all right. But last year was the first year that DeAndre Hopkins wasn't there.
Mhm.
And you know what their record was from last year with Deshaun Watson starting all those games? 4-12.
Yes.
He led the league at passing, though.
Yes, he was a fantastic fantasy player, but that's not necessarily making the team around you better.
No. And a lot of that was garbage time because
Insane.
didn't Dak Prescott do the same thing the year before that?
Yes. Which
Led
Dak
the league
Prescott,
in-
let's hear it.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I'll be damned.
I mean,
I
I'm
would say
foot in
Miami's
mouth
big.
right here. Foot in mouth. I'm like eating the sole of my shoe because I've never been a big fan. Here we are.
No, I haven't either. I'm still not. But, I mean, I can't deny the fact that he's playing good ball. Luckily, he's got a bye week because, he's hurt. So, he strained his calf or something like that.
We'll
But,
see.
yeah.
So Tua's. Y'all were talking about Tua. When did the Dolphins fans give up on Tua? They gave up on Tua right around October 2019 when he got hurt in Alabama. Still,
Yep.
the second he got injured in Alabama and his draft stock fell,
Yep.
everyone who was originally tanked for Tua was against Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
And he's
he's already been hurt
played
down
like
there.
an injured quarterback his whole pro career. And he's played like one, to be honest. He's looked injured. He hasn't looked confident. He's reminding me a lot of, I use this comparison a lot, but it's just so apt when it comes to quarterbacks. You don't want to go full late stage Marcus Mariota, and that's what he's looked like. He looks no confidence, no deep ball.
Yeah.
He's
All
afraid to
this
get
is
hit.
nurturing. All this is coaching and nurturing of a player. And they've just come from such a stable environment into this crazy nonsense of, oh, am I going to play today or is somebody else playing this week? Freaking. That's my thing. That's my thing. We'll see. Give me 3 years from this now, and we'll see if Mac Jones.
And that's why Marcus
doesn't-
was a bust.
And it's not because Mac Jones is necessarily a better player. It's because he's going to go into a better environment.
A more stable environment.
Mac Jones was also.
Yes.
Mac Jones is the only other Alabama quarterback other than A.J. McCarron to come from a pass-first system over there.
Dude, no.
In Alabama, he was. Oh,
Jesus. No.
what a fun guess.
That's a little
Yeah,
bit
right.
of a psychology for the show there. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Nah, I think, Tua, I think they're giving up on him too fast. I personally, that's the way I feel. I mean, yeah, I'm sure Watson can make it better, at least make his players around him better and stuff, but I don't think he's the answer. And who knows how he's going to look after he comes back from not playing for a fucking year.
No, he's not the answer. And they're going to have to give up even more draft capital to get him. And they're going to they're really going to kill the team for years to get this guy, which means, if he gets suspended by the league, we still don't know the end of that. On top of all this draft capital, you don't get a refund on that. It
Nope.
just makes it a further bad decision. They're the general manager front office position of there at the Dolphins is atrocious. And the way that they've kind of set this team up, they put a lot of pressure on this past draft because they were tanked to get to a quarterback, and then they were supposed to be stockpiling picks to then rush in this next year and add a lot of talent. But the guys that they've picked with all this draft capital, just underwhelming. You have to be able, if you're going to get all these picks, you have to know that you can trust your talent evaluators to put these pieces in there and build a good team. They started to catch a little momentum last year, and this year, I mean, Tua's played in these games, and they're not winning these games. They're losing to Jacksonville. All respect due, but they should be better than this. And they're talking about Flores is on the hot seat.
Before the start of the season, there was talk about them making it to the playoffs.
Dude, that's been with Miami the past 6 years, has it not?
Nah.
Like they've been on
No,
the verge
the
of
past
being
2
something
years.
worth watching.
Next year's
The
season.
past
on
2
the
years,
verge.
it
They
has
were
been
10
that
and
way.
6 last year.
Yes, they've been on the
Guys, they were
verge of
10
being
and 6
something.
this year.
Well, they're
Because the
definitely, but
defense
the
has
year
been
before
solid.
that, didn't they get the first pick in the draft the year before that? or excuse
I
me,
don't know.
earn the
Well,
first
yeah,
pick?
they had the Fitzpatrick
No.
years, and they've had some rough times, but they've had talent, and it's looked like they've had some direction at some points, and then they come back next year, and it's like,
Yeah.
And in that division this year, they should be up a hell of a lot higher. I mean, you're competing with the Jets and the Patriots basically to try to get some, some kind of air. And the Patriots are, middle of the road. I mean, that's a team that you need to set
At
your sights
best.
on with it. And really be able to overtake them this year. And if you're not going to take them over this year, if you give them chances to reload with Josh McDaniels and Belichick still there, you're not going to get another chance.
No.
This same thing happened in 2008, the Wildcat year, when Brady got hurt, and that's the last time they won the division. That's the last time I think anybody besides them won the division. Maybe the Jets won it. I don't know.
But Buffalo won it last year.
Well, it
Right.
doesn't count. We're talking about the Brady era. Smart ass.
Well,
Well, still, but
that's not what he said, but yeah.
now,
Yeah, they got to get something done, man. They're losing their window. They're going to get killed.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Miami's-
I mean,
What's
isn't
that
the
question about
Patriots
Miami is
2 games on their schedule, real quick? Don't they play twice?
Who?
Pats and
yeah, I
Miami.
believe so.
Yes.
All
Probably.
right, go ahead.
Miami has had all this talent, even up the. They wasted all the talent they had under Gase. They had Tannehill, Drake, Parker, all that elite talent that was full on wasted under Gase, and now they have more elite talent. Well, theoretically elite talent, and it's what's going on in Miami. They keep last year they were 10-6. Like they were a game away from making the playoffs.
Yep.
They were 2 games over, and they weren't just some fluke or team last year. They were really good.
No, they were
Mhm.
solid.
And
Defense helped them out.
Well, the defense is the worst part of their team, I'd argue.
Now,
they're getting
I would say.
burned by.
Well, I
They
mean,
didn't
their
burn by
only
Trevor
win
Lawrence.
this year come at New England.
1
That's
point.
their only win this year.
There you go.
So
Beat them again next year. Or
I mean,
the end of the
they
year, I
haven't.
mean.
They should have won last week, against Jacksonville, but their schedule has not been easy. They had the
No, their
Bills.
schedule's bad.
The Bills the week after that, then the Raiders, and then I'm sorry, man, but the Colts don't look that bad, and then the Buccaneers last week. So, and all right, so they got Atlanta coming up, the Bills again, and Houston Texans. Oh, they can fuck off. Then
You know who-
Baltimore.
You know
Go
what the
ahead.
Colts remind me of now?
Who?
Like over the past few years, I don't know why this is. Maybe it's because Rivers played there, but they remind me of like a Chargers here, a nice little Chargers situation we have here in the South. They're just going to be this needling team that's never going to really do much, but they're going to be there. They're going to have a 10,
And they can
11.
beat you. And they can beat you.
And they can beat you, but that's going to be about it.
Yep. I mean, I actually started Carson Wentz in my other league this past week because he was going up against Houston, and he got more points than Tannehill did for that league. So it wasn't a bad decision, but I still fucking lost. Well, what are you gonna do? Anything else y'all want to talk about? Anything about this game's coming up this week? Anything sticking out to you?
Let me see what it
Bills
is.
schedule.
Yeah, let's.
I
We
missed
already
all
talked
of
about
last
Denver.
week.
The Bills are on a bye this coming up week, so
Yeah.
so
There's some good games.
when they come back, they're going to mop the floor with Miami because they're still going to be pissed.
Yes. I think Bengals Ravens could be a high scoring affair.
Yep. that's
I'm
gonna be
interested
stupid.
in that game. I'm very interested in that game.
4-2 versus 5-1. I would say so. And then what else we got here? Kansas City,
Chiefs
Tennessee.
Titans, man. Yeah, that's going to be a good game.
Yeah. I'm going with the
I would-
Titans on that one, man. I just don't see the
I
Chiefs.
think-
And they're coming here, so it's going to be a home game.
Yeah. Those are the only 2 games I see. Lions Rams just for the drama. The drama.
Bay Chicago. Might be worth watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be a good one. And not the Seahawks or the Saints. I don't care. Give a fuck about that. That's Monday night.
Why aren't they flexing either the Ravens or Titans game to Sunday night? Why is Colts Niners the Sunday night game?
It's,
no
it's
shit.
too early. I think
Yeah.
it's got to be week 11 before they start to do the flex games per the contract.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought they changed that.
Michael,
They
you
should.
need to be a lawyer in the NFL of some sort. You've really got
Me?
yourself familiarized with the financials.
Yeah, I don't know what it says about me.
I'm
and where
very,
I-
I'm very glad he knows that
Fair
stuff. It's handy
Yeah.
having someone who knows that stuff.
I know he's
I sure as fuck don't.
that part of the show.
I
for
used
sure.
to, but I don't anymore either.
I tell you, man, I don't really get on Twitter very much, but when I do, I follow certain accounts that kind of tend to dive into more of the financial and business side of it, and it's an interesting perspective because they're detached from your common, hothead takes on all the primetime games and who's going to come out and one play at a time. Like, I don't really get off on reading that type of stuff. I kind of like to go a couple levels deep. But some of these Pro Football Talk, there's a couple of reporters for CBS Sports that oddly enough are really into this type of stuff. And it can be interesting, man. And they write some long articles. Peter King is another one. That Peter King, he's jumped around. He used to do Sports Illustrated for probably 30 years. And he writes some good long form stuff. If you guys are ever interested in like going a few layers deep, I can take no credit. I just repeat what others have already done.
Dude,
I just provide color.
That's my life.
Same. But yeah, this is a very bad week other than those two games. I mean,
I'm not seeing anything either. I mean, all right. So my upset for the week, I'm going to go with the fucking. Yeah, I'm going this far. I am going to take Washington over the Packers.
That would be a pretty good upset. I would, if I'm looking at these upsets just on paper, I'm either going with the Bears to beat Tampa Bay, or
They got a hell of a defense in Chicago, man.
I could see Carolina sleeping on the Giants and accidentally losing that game.
No, Giants are toast, man. They have to
They
wait.
might be toast. They're terrible, but man, you fell asleep in MetLife Stadium. You accidentally leave with an L. Trust me. That was the other team that plays there, but any team you fall asleep playing there, something bad happens.
I really would like to see the Bengals win that Ravens game because that would really shake things up.
I don't even think that would be an upset.
I don't know. I mean, that would be an upset.
Well, it's in division.
Well, it's in division, but that would be an upset because, dude, the Bengals, I know they're 4-2, but they're I don't know.
It might be time to start taking the Bengals seriously, everybody. They're
I have been. I've been on that train for a while now.
Nope.
Yeah.
So
Miles is driving.
Choo-choo. I have been, man. I've got two of their players on my fantasy team.
I do too, and they keep fucking me. So no.
You got the wrong.
I want to sleep on the Bengals, but man, they've looked really good against some really good competition.
Don't use their defense for anything.
Yeah, their defense is so terrible.
Has done me nothing worth a shit in that other league. Higgins.
Who?
Higgins. Yeah.
Tight end.
Oh, the receiver.
Oh, I don't know anybody but Jamar Chase and only the producers are the ones I keep up with. Okay, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow.
They got to be
all the rest of them
that can run and pass the ball. I mean, Burrow's a phenomenal quarterback, and when Mixon's healthy, they can run the ball really well too. They're well balanced on offense.
They're definitely a well balanced team. They're a very LSU looking team.
Hey, the Rams are going to lose to the Lions this week.
I hope so.
I'm being serious.
And that laugh was serious too.
Okay, we'll see.
This is traditional Adam laughing and then accidentally getting it wrong because fate hates Adam.
Yeah, that is true.
Let's see what
I would like to see the Lions win. I don't want to see anybody go 0-17.
No, I want to see
their coach cry.
Most of the games they've lost has been within 3 points or less that they lost, and it's been on like final drives. So it's their record doesn't reflect the team that they are. I mean, I guess it does.
Dan came crying after that Minnesota game.
What,
Miles?
So the Rams are expected to win by over 2 touchdowns.
Okay,
they're the favorite.
Yeah, rightfully so.
In Vegas. So 2 touchdowns really isn't that crazy. I mean, for the NFL, it's pretty high though. Really, I think.
No, I think that's high simply because if you look at the 6 games that they have played, that like I said, I want to say about 3, maybe 4 of those games were decided on field goals. One of them was by Baltimore, who kicked a NFL record fucking field goal to win the game. That's where one of their wins come from.
I know. Well, listen to this. The Cardinals-Houston game, they're expected to win by 18 points.
Really?
I would take the
That's going to
Cardinals.
be a lot
That's
more
pretty-
than that.
That's serious, man. Let me tell
You
you how
get more
serious
than
that is.
that?
If you bet $1, you would win 7 cents. You would win $1.07. You get your
Oh.
dollar back plus 7 cents. That's how bad the odds are. So if $100 would be $7. Risk $100 to win $7.
No, I'm good.
That's pretty
I'm good.
pitiful.
All right, guys. I guess we'll pick it up next week.
All right.
All right. Good broadcast. We'll talk to y'all later.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you.
Exciting.
Good night.
See you.